Welcome to the new episode of All That Jazz. I'm your host, Matyash, and I have with me Sheila Mae. Welcome to the show. I never know what to say, podcast or show. I'm confused.
Show. It is show.
Yes, it is a show. There we go.
It is a show. It's just like in a cam to camera. So
That's it.
that's the only difference.
It's the new modern way of doing things in the coolest era.
Exactly.
Yes. So
It connects as you're from Slovenia and I'm here in Atlanta, so it's the best way to connect.
yes. So you are a self-discovery coach, is that right?
Yes, correct.
So did you start with like a lot of my guests start with a spiritual journey like early in life. So how did
Yep.
yours start?
Well, it started back in the Philippines. We had a certain like we're all, and not all, but majority of the time we're all Catholic Christians or Christians. So I didn't really had that much of an experience, and I didn't know what really spirituality means, and I don't know what that is until I came here in America. I got married, and what initiated is when I got divorced. The divorce was the catalyst for me to look for myself. Like that was me like asking, because it was so painful that it led me to ask about who am I, why I'm here.
Hold on, let me stop you right there. Is there a music playing in the background?
Do you want me to turn it off?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just take a second. This is all the show on the go.
Okay, let's see.
So you
Give me a second because I don't know how to turn it off. Okay, that's all.
was it like Alexa or something? No, it wasn't Alexa.
Not, no.
That would be funny. It'd be like Alexa,
Alexa, turn it off.
please shut up.
Exactly. I would. That
All
would
right.
be fun. Okay.
So let me backtrack a bit. So you met somebody while you're in the Philippines, and you go to the United States, or you go to the United States and you meet somebody, then you get married, and then later on there's things that work out, there's a divorce.
Yeah, like later on, like I got married in here in America, and he's also like from my country. He was born in my country, so there's that comfort
Yes.
home, so and then we got together, and then eventually we got married, and so for years that was back in the day, that was my life, like being married, and we don't have kids, but yeah, so when that uh when we broke up, and we went through this motions of the separation, that led me, it was so painful, that led me to really question life. So that
Yes.
literally initiated everything of where I am now within my no, with my understanding of life.
Right. Did you start with like self-help writers like I remember back in the day I used to read like Louise Hay, that's a really popular author.
Oh my God, that's awesome that you mentioned that, Louise Hay.
Yeah.
Because when I was going through my divorce, Louise Hay is the first teacher that really took me on a journey. Because I started questioning about my belief system. I started to question who I am. So who is God? So I started questioning all of this, because once we feel all of this suffering, it's like there's that, like breaking away of your own systemized world and what your beliefs were. So and so as I was going through that, I remember I went to this it's like a group conference or something, and that the location was, it's called Self-Discovery Center.
Oh wow.
That was the location, right? And so and then I got lost and just, oh my god. So I was supposed, like, I I was starting to give up, and I'm like, okay, I couldn't find this house. It's because it's a house. I couldn't find this house, so it's like I need probably give up and just go home. And then it turned out I just felt like I was led to that house, because, and then all of a sudden I found a place, and there it was like a film of self-discovery. No, not self. The place was Self-Discovery Center, and the meetup was about how to heal your life, and or heal your life, I think. You can heal your life or something. I forgot.
Hmm.
And then so when I got in there and I saw the film, I sat down there and I'm like, oh my god, it literally, that film literally resonates to what I was feeling at that moment. And I started to get curious about Louise Hay and everything that she does, and everything about her words, how she, what her teachings are. Literally just, I felt like I found my person. And then from then on, I I started searching about other spiritual teachers. And it's like a connection, like from Louise Hay, and then to Abraham Hicks, to Wayne Dyer, and then Usho. And that's when I feel like, oh my god, like this is amazing how the universe led you to people or teachers that will somehow benefit you in the process of understanding yourself. So yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Louise Hay, because Louise Hay was literally an impactful teacher that I've encountered at the beginning.
Yeah, I remember. I must have been a teenager. I discovered one of her books, and it was about sayings from, or maybe it was a "You Can Heal Your Life." I'm not sure, but it had some
Yeah.
kind of saying, some kind of
Affirmations.
affirmations, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it was really helpful. So you go through this process. I think I saw that documentary, "You Can Heal Your Life." I think Louise Hay produced it, and she's a big speaker in it, and yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you go on this journey, and do you leave? A lot of people leave their religion behind. So do you leave Catholicism behind, or do you still embrace it?
I embrace it, actually. So I had a story about that, because as I said, I grew up Catholic, and that's the only religion I know. And because back in the Philippines, like, we have traditions, we have the culture on itself. And but I always question it since I was a little girl. I always question, like, why do we kneel, why do we pray, like, why is it like Jesus is in the cross? Like a typical child questioning, like, and questioning my mom, like, how do you pray? And then my mom would teach me, oh, you just say, our Father who art in heaven. And it's like, but it's a repeating words, like, it's like, is that even possible? Can God even hear us? Because it's like he's in the cross, like, how can he hear? So my mom would like keep asking me question. So it's like, I feel like my intuition was already embedded in me as a child, because this is where, when we're children, this is where it's more clear. but because of, the conditioning within that reality at that
Mm-hmm.
time, this is where the mind and our intuition is, having some discussion at what's going on with this reality, and why my body and why my spirit is telling me the same thing. But in the Catholic perception, we have to rely mostly on the Bible and what the priest is telling you. So my intuition is kind of like shut down, because it's like I have to abide to what is being told.
Mm-hmm.
And so so I always question that, but I always respect it. That's the thing. Like, I always feel like every time I go to church, like, I always feel like this is like a kingdom that is built for us to reflect, and for us to like connect to that source. But I didn't understood at that time what this, like, why I feel a feeling and all of this stuff. It was until, during the process of my separation with my ex-husband, that I started questioning God. Who is God? Who am I? And then here in America, and that's like, I felt like I was led here because in America in itself, it's very diversified. There's so much freedom here. You can be who you want to be. You can practice what you want to practice. You can literally do things that feels like right for you.
Right.
So
Compare that. Hold on. That's a very
yeah,
interesting point. Because a lot of people that are born in America don't actually realize it. That some of the other countries, maybe Philippines is not that. Maybe Thailand is worse,
yeah,
because I think Thailand has a king, if I'm not mistaken,
yes.
right? Um. So, but in Philippines, the freedoms that you have is not the same as in the United States, right?
No, there's a difference. Because we're very religious. It's a religious country, and there's a certain practice. So I feel limited in that kind of like a system.
Right.
So in here in America, I feel like I can explore. There's that freedom of exploration.
Mm.
And there it's kind of like because mostly everyone is going to church, to Catholic church, and there's a certain, like, ways that we do. So questioning about, like here in America, like there's you can be a Buddhist if you want, you can be a Hindu, there's so many different churches that you can visit and go. While in the Philippines, as I said, it's like Catholic and Islam also is also part of it, and Christian, like uh, na- non-Catholic Christians. So these are just the, like, options, and here it's so many options that you can be part of.
Mm.
That's, I think, the difference. But I think with freedom, like, there is, but it's really more of the system that works for the certain country.
Okay, I want to also talk about um, because since I don't often have somebody from Philippines on the podcast, I'm
Yeah.
interested in a difference in culture. Because I think maybe some things are better in Philippines. Um, because I think I have a friend. I think she's from Thailand, and she went to marry somebody in Canada, but she was dismayed by some of the stuff that she's seen in Canada, and she wasn't totally happy with the way society was going forward. Um, some of the political stuff, and she wasn't happy about, and all this stuff, that she thought maybe some stuff was better in Thailand, but overall she wasn't enthused about Thailand either, because that it has other problems. So, what do you think are the upsides of being from Philippines and living there?
I think the tradition, the because it's so, like, structured on the way it is, and So I think that's like the being in the Philippines is very family oriented. It's very connecting, and because there's a certain things that we follow, and so
Right.
I think that's what, I think that's what the difference is, that there's a certain things that I mean everywhere, but the tradition, I think that's one of the best thing, I think, being in the Philippines, is that we're able to relate to that kind of uh system. And here, I mean, it's the same thing here, but I feel like because it's my home, so it's like it feels more, I feel more at home being there. That doesn't necessarily that I have to follow a certain belief, but because I've been used to it and I've been conditioned to the reality that I was in, so there's familiarity of that tradition that it makes me appreciate it rather than condemn it.
Right. 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 Got it. All right. So back to this intuitive journey. So you're reading all these books, and then what led you then to start looking into being a self discovery coach?
It just comes actually because well, it goes back to the history. After I went through all of this, you know, exploring different religions and um, all of this, exploring differences of belief system and all of this stuff. And then, the challenges just go through that. And then one day, um, I started to feel like I want to, like, there's this calling inside of me to take on a life coach program, to be a life coach, and there's just that I just feel connected to it. And so I did took for like 7 months for that, um and then after that I just felt like there's more to it. There's more to what I was taught within that frame. And so I started digging, and then that's where I started to feel like I there's more to be done, just by just connecting to that intuition. And I was searching for that intuition. I think I was searching for that force that led me to self discovery, because it wasn't enough for me. There's just like, it's not enough. Like, I feel like there's more, like, because a lot of us, like teachers and all of this, like, we kind of like teach on the same um degree. Like, everyone is somehow like teaching different, and I was just like, no, there has to be something that I resonate, because my soul is kind of like seeking something else. Or
Hmm.
my mind would say, oh, this teacher is teaching me how to do this, to be this. And a part of me said, but I can't connect. But there has to be, so it's, I think that's explorative seeking that I have, that led me to self discovery. Because I think it's just not about the it's just not about one thing. There has to be something that resonates to you as a person, why you're here on earth and who you are in this earth. And so yeah, that's what it
So did you pick up any spiritual practices along the way that you now practice still?
I always have this in mind, that I am one with everything. And I pick up on that. So I think that was it. I pick up on that when I started getting out of my box. Being the Catholic that I was, and I said, okay, so there has to be more. So that's when I started to explore the different types of religion, and I go to all of these different churches, the Hindu, the Buddhism, and Islam, and it's like, and it's just like, oh my god, it's really just one, I'm just one of everything. And it's amazing how, because of my curiosity, it allowed me to see a different kind of world that connects me to that world. So I don't really have like a hold onto a certain type of
Mm-hmm.
spirituality. I am a Catholic, and I'm gonna die a Catholic because that's what I was brought into this earth. That is my path, to be a Catholic. And so I would never take that part of myself, because that's part of who I am. But at the same time as well, I also embrace other type of religion, and because I also embody all of these different kinds of religion, and so that's just it. I think I just, one of everything is my
So it's probably also prayer, since you're a
prayers.
Catholic,
Yes.
prayer,
Yes.
and confession, right?
Yep.
Confession is something that I think a lot of people underestimate. A lot of people that are from the Protestant and other traditions. I'm not sure if the Orthodox have. Maybe the Orthodox do have confession. I'm not sure, actually. I should know
what's
this.
your what's your religion, if you don't mind me asking? Or do
Uh,
you practice it, or what's
That's an interesting question, because I was raised Catholic.
Oh, same as me.
Right, but I did get I have some Protestant slash evangelical friends, and I got baptized last year. So I'm kind of a mix. I got baptized not in the church, in the sea, in the Scottish
In the
Sea.
sea.
Yeah,
Oh, what
and
is
when
that?
it just you just go out to any kind of, I just thought to be natural, just go out. There's an ocean near Edinburgh, so go out and submerge yourself in water, with, and somebody, kind of, we said a prayer before, and my friend said a prayer, and then it was
Did that
submerged in
resonate to
water.
your soul?
Sorry.
Did that resonate to your soul
Yeah,
more?
it felt like it needed to be a choice. It felt like, because in the Catholic tradition, you get baptized when you're really young,
Yes.
and it's not a
Yes.
choice. So
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yes.
when they presented that to me, I was like, well, I really thought about it hard for like a few weeks, maybe a month or more. But then I was like, okay, I think this is good. I thought for a while, I thought maybe I would betray my Catholic roots, but then I was like, nah, this is. And somebody sent me this link from a catechism, the official Catholic doctrine, that said you can only be baptized once. So I was like, I'm fine. They don't even recognize it. I'm fine. So, so talk about intuition. Is there something? Do you have any recommendation for people how they can better their intuition? Because I'm always kind of like unsure whether what I'm getting is true or not. Whether what I'm intuiting is true or not. So how can people tell what is true or not?
We can't tell what's true or not.
Right.
That's the thing. Our mind can reason it. What we feel, what we kind of like our gut tells us. There's Because intuition and the what we think, our mind, they're connected. They're not separated.
Right.
So the only difference is that um it's like it gets conflicted when we started questioning our senses, our body, and then when our mind reasons stuff that things that we see, and like, oh my god, I feel like, because the way I do it is I go in touch with my body, with my senses, how I feel. And so that's when I get in touch, like, okay, this is something that I probably would have to, go away, or there has to be something my body's like, it's like I feel like I'm following my body. Because when my mind started to reason it, that's a challenge on itself. Because now I'm like questioning the validity of my intuition, my body,
Right.
and I started to like be in my head, and that's when I lost touch with my intuition. So I think it goes back to what's your senses, how your body's functioning when your mind is quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you can hear more. But I don't think that these are all separated. I think intuition and our mind, our thoughts, needs to be realigned in order for them to work together, to create a reality for you. But other than that, we're just doing, we're just being in our
Right.
reality.
We can't tell truth from falsehood, kind of, in a way.
No, we can't.
But
It's hard. I mean, yes, we can say, oh, there's a truth in it, or this what I'm saying is true, or what they're saying is true, but no one can really know that except what we think of, no, what we respond about, what our body responds to it, that makes it true or
except
false.
God, maybe, except God.
Exactly, except God.
You,
Except,
you, you ever read that book called Truth versus Falsehood? By
no.
there's a book called Truth versus Falsehood by David Hawkins, and he says the same thing, that the mind cannot tell what is true or false. You can program it with anything, and
Yep.
it's amazing. So okay, so when you went along your journey, you started to focus on how can people discover what they're really here for. Because sometimes even though I do this, sometimes I doubt myself. I'm like, what am I really meant to do, here on earth with all the talents, or all the time I wasted, let's say.
No,
um,
never. Never. It's never a waste.
it's never a waste. Oh,
It's
good.
never a waste. Okay, go ahead.
So, so how did you get to that point then, that you were like, okay, let's see how I can help other people find out what their talents are, what their path in life ought to be.
I felt like my body was miserable. I felt like there was this misery that I carry within me, and my body is not feeling well. And no matter how much I reason my experience, my feelings, it's just that I feel like there's an entity, there's a force inside of me that just feels so miserable. I mean, that's just a word, miserable. I'm just describing what my body was trying to convey to me. And when during the process of my divorce, because I said it goes back to that being the catalyst of my progression to where I am now, is that I started going to therapist. I started, it's like, what's wrong with me? What's going on? And within that time frame, I feel like just my body alone, I just feel like the therapy didn't work for me the way my body's responding to it. It was limited. It was something that, when you sit down for 1 hour and you talk about your stuff, I just feel like this is enough for me. Like, I feel like there's more to this. I can't just talk and talk for 1 hour, and I can find. So that started as I started questioning here again with my questioning mind. I started questioning. So I'm sick. So I'm sitting down here. So it means I'm sick. I'm ill. So I'm
Y-
like, but I feel like I'm not really ill. I just feel like there's something that my body is telling me that I cannot decipher, and I can't put a word to it. So from there, I started to think that, okay, so my body's telling me, this is where I listen to my intuition, is where my body is leading me. And it's just my body is like saying that, this is not enough, Sheila. You gotta explore more, you gotta see more, you gotta have more. So yeah, so that's where the exploration of religion, exploration of relationship, exploration of stuff. And then I went to um the life coaching program. And then I'm like, oh, this is still not enough. It's still not enough. I want to know more, because it's like I feel like it's very generalized. And now looking at from a, like looking at from a different sides of people and how what we're passionate about, our gift, because it's unique to each one of us. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, what she's teaching and what she's coaching is very unique to her alone. And what she's, her experience is very unique to her. And I have a different way of being. And it's like, I can't resonate to it. So sometimes when I'm in the like school system, I feel like my body's like reacting to it. It's like, but I cannot be thought in a general way because I feel I feel unique. There's something there that's that's something that's inside of me that feels like there's more. And then when that happened, I'm like, okay, so I started digging to the hole. And I'm like, I got to find this because I think what really concerned me most was depression
Mm.
and being lost, like being lost, because I was there. I mean, I'm still there. I'm still going through it. And the depression is happening. A lot of people are having anxiety, which also I've felt that too. So I can really empathize. And that what brought me to to know to myself that I think that I want to figure this out. And then I started, because after my divorce, that's when I started this self discovery. I thought that was self discovery. It's
Mm-hmm.
outside of me. So it was very outside of me. It's like, okay, so now I'm single, I'm free. So I'm gonna start traveling, I'm gonna start dating, I'm gonna start like doing all of this stuff. And so I was searching outside. I'm searching, oh, this is what she's doing. So this person that I'm following in Instagram or in Facebook, this is what she's doing. So I'm gonna do the same thing too, because that's what, and I just feel like, oh my God, I'm not being true to myself.
Did you start going to clubs as well? Like just
Of course.
okay.
So many as I said, I went through a lot, so many exploration of myself, because I'm like, I have to figure this out, because I need to explore, I need to know, I need to experience. And so always looking from the outside of me, until one day I was still miserable. It's like, oh, it's like I'm single and I'm empowered, right? Like there's that self-righteousness that I felt. Like I feel empowered now. I don't need no man. I don't need nobody. Like I
Yeah.
can.
You became a Western woman. I don't need a man, it's fine.
Exactly. Exactly. I became that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can, I'm a woman, I'm a strong woman. I feel empowered. I can do things that I want. And then I didn't know what that means actually. I didn't know. I don't know what to say. I just feel so self-righteous and like I know it all. No one can destroy me anymore. Like I'm a strong woman. And I'm like, and then, my ex-boyfriend for a couple of years taught me what that means. What that means. Like my lesson did not stop there. It's like he showed me that you have to get away from self-centeredness.
Was this
Because I
wait, was this the same person that you
No,
married
no,
or
no.
is this
It was after my marriage, and
okay.
I met, after like my marriage, and I went through like, a couple of years of self-discovery, which is being single and exploring the dating world and all of just exploring. And after
Right.
that, I think 2 to 3 years, I met my ex-boyfriend for for a couple of years together. And that's when he taught me, because the relationship always teach you something about yourself. And it taught me that my self-righteousness and my being so self-centered is needs to get harnessed, and because that's when I realized how he taught me how to care about the other people's feelings. It's not all about me. The world doesn't revolve around me. And so he taught me my own karma in my life. It taught me about things that triggers me, things that hurt me, things that I don't like, things that it started actually it's I started reflecting what's inside of me, why I get angry, why I get upset, why I get so happy. And that was the start actually of me exploring within.
Mm.
And he was my ex for 4 years. He was the catalyst with that, because within the relationship there was so much misunderstanding, so much conflict, that allowed me to really be reflective of who I am. And I'm like, okay, so
Well, hold on.
okay, so
So were you saying that he were you saying at some point that he's your twin flame, that everything is going awry? I
I think I yes, I think that everyone that we connect, whether it's short or long, they bring value to your life, to yourself, whether that is a strong bond, or they contributed something, because we mirror them. So I could say that he is one of those karmic relationship that will teach me, because it was a very difficult relationship. And for me, I see him as my teacher. I always see people who connects to me, relationship or friendship, I always see them as a teacher. And if it's the most difficult, like crush rush like that, what crush, like it crushes your ego and your own self identity. I mean, they're the most, like, for me, like they're like one of those big teachers that will come into your life to destroy your identity that you've created to yourself and what this
right.
society had created for you, and crush those so that you can shine your own being.
So it's a gift basically, but it doesn't seem like it in the moment because you're,
No,
it's
yes.
upsetting, right?
Except, yes, it triggers so many trigger points. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I in this relationship? You start questioning, why am I going through this? This is so painful. Why? And then, but I forgot that during and within those time, there's gift to that, but we don't see it because we goes back to being self-centered, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
all about me, my pain, my joy, my everything. If you're toxic, you gotta go. If you're this, you gotta go. I don't need you. And it goes
Yeah.
back to that. Like,
Um,
oh, like we identify people, our connection to anyone, especially with their relationship, romantic, and we're like, oh my God, this person is so toxic, I gotta get rid of her or him. And that's become a toxic perspective,
yeah.
because we don't realize the beauty that comes out from this people, or man, woman in our life. What those chaos that, both of chaos, because not just the other person, and we have to be accountable of why we met certain people in our life, because we mirror those qualities that they have, we mirror those toxicity. And so, because for me, I'm like, I'm sitting down with it, I'm like, okay, so what am I complaining about? This person is literally me, so now I
Right.
gotta do something
It's a
about me.
it's a mirror to yourself, basically.
Yes, it's a mirror to.
It's funny you mentioned self-centeredness because I have noticed that one of the things I really don't like is if somebody in an area that I feel kind of self-conscious, or I don't like other people telling me what to do, and that other
Yes,
people tell me what to do, and that just gets me all riled up, and I get all defensive and stuff, and that's, I guess, part of my self-centeredness. And
we are all self-centered though. I mean, tell me who's a like, okay, I don't care if somebody is so kind, so nice, so, like, we embody self-centeredness. The moment we were born, it's already embedded to being self-centered, because when we were babies, like everything was all about us. Take care of me, feed me.
Right. You have to be a saint, I think, not to be, or a Buddha or, Jesus Christ, to
Yes,
be.
if you're created the way they are created, then you can overcome the self-centeredness. But even with them, though, even with them, they had to go through their own transformation to become the Buddha, to become the saint that they are. They had to overcome their own like ego.
Well, I think Jesus is a different case because I have a theory that he was born that way, that came
Yeah,
straight
there
down
are
from heaven.
people. Yes, there are people that's born that way, and that's what their purpose is.
Mm,
And this is the reason why I dig into self discovery, because it's like, we are born in a certain length, and a certain, some people are born to be the saint, some people are born to be evil, some people are born to, like ruin their lives, some people are born to, to be so organized about their life. And like we have all of those things. We're like playing characters, we're like in the film,
right.
playing our roles.
By the way, that name Sheila is a kind of name in Australia meaning girl, I think. Sheila, that Sheila over there can mean any kind of girl. I don't know if you knew that, but so okay, let's say I'm going to you. Let's play a scenario that I'm going to you as a client and for the self-discovery thing. So what's some of the things you're looking for when this, a client goes and to you uh, to search about themselves, basically?
I go down to the root right away. So a lot of clients, they would tell, their concern and their challenges about relationship, career, like being, you know, going through again. This is a common things. We struggle with romantic relationships, divorce, and career is big, just feeling lost. So
Right.
now I put that aside. I really does put that, I would listen to it, and I would want to put that aside, because that's just part of the challenges that we go through. And I go down to your root. I go down to who are you as a person? What are you need to overcome in this life? What challenges that you're gonna battle? Because as I said, each of us is playing a role. There's a role. It's like a movie. We're playing inside the movie. We can either be the villain or the hero. It's not our control how the universe created us or how God created us. But if you don't understand this, then that's a problem. That's a problem in itself, because we don't understand our own character of why we're here in this world. So I need to set aside all of this this challenges that we face in our everyday life, and I want to dig down to you, because I went through this process where I started questioning, I started looking from different teachers, different religion, and then I'm like, I'm still feeling the same. It feels like it's not working on for me. Like I've paid so much money and this person helping me, or I've gone through a lot and nothing ever happened. So now when a client sit with me, it's like I need to know who you are, because some people doesn't even know who they are. So, I mean, they can feel that there's a patterns that we do, like that makes it defined that this is how I am, like I do this all the time, I feel this all the time. But we can't really we can't really create a form of it, and that's why we get lost with relationship, we get lost with our careers, and we get so miserable of why my career is not setting off, why I feel stuck, why I feel stagnant. And so I want to dig to that, and I sit down with them, and I started questioning about, of course it always starts with the family dynamic and all those things. And then now I now go back to understanding the core of there. And then when I figure it out, then it's like, okay, this is the very reason, not on the outside perspective, but within what your soul needs to overcome in this lifetime. And we're gonna figure out in this time frame, because maybe right now, according to the stars, or maybe right now the energy right now, you're gonna go through this hardship and you can't control it.
Are you talking about me or are you talking about
Like,
everybody?
everyone,
Okay.
every everyone, it's like we go through some sort of like challenges in our life, and we don't understand why this time, because I went through that. It's like, why I can't control my situation. It's like a problem to problem to problem and to problem, and it never goes away. Why? Like, I'm trying all the best as I can to create some sort of an outcome, and it seems like nothing is good enough. And I've been to, like, as I said, teachers, listening to podcasts, to stuff, and I'm like, yeah. And then, you get motivated and you're like, I'm gonna do this. And then the next day you're like, oh, I'm back again to the same cycle. But
So,
why?
so you're talking about like getting to know who the clients is, like the values that they have, the family struggles, the friends, the kind of overall
From the outside, yeah, yeah, I'm looking at in an outside perspective, an
right.
outside, because that's outside our our reality at the moment where we are. I see that as an outside source. you know I'm looking from within, so it goes back to, now I have to understand. Um okay, so I'm gonna explain why. When I was going through my own self discovery, the therapist did not work for me. All of these things somehow did not work for me. I mean, at that moment you get excited and you're like, I'm gonna change my life forever.
Mm.
And it goes back to the same cycle. And so what I did was, okay, so it seems like nothing is working out. I'm still depressed. I'm still miserable, and however I define that. So one day I just woke up and started to understand. I don't know what happened, but my intuition was start making me feel like, okay, the world has to have something that is triggering all of this. So the patterns, like, who we are, our energy, our character energetically, are like, like the purpose, like, why is it I'm going through this? So, and then I started going back to when I was born. I started going back to the star. I started, like, outside, and I started going, it's like, okay, I need to go back to my star. I
Are you
need
talking about hypnosis or something? How
No,
did you
no,
go back? Okay.
no, like star, what I mean is, like, metaphorically, what I mean is that, okay, so I need to go back to where I was before I was born, in the star. So when I talk about star, I talk about, like the system, the art of astrology, the art of, any sort of system that will embody who you are in this world. Because this is apart from religion. Because now I'm moving away from religion, not exactly moving away from my reality, but now, as I am moving from within, I started to question, okay, so there has to be a purpose why I'm feeling this way. So going back to the star where I was born and checking it out, what's going on, and that's where I found, what I've been discovering, my hypothesis, is that like with my theory. And that's where I started digging the system, the matrix.
Oh,
And yeah, so I started digging the matrix, like, what is this all about? Let me go check all of this building. Why is it that and I started going down to the hill, to the matrix, and questioning it. And that's when I started to know who I am, what I need to become, what I need to work within myself,
Mm-hmm.
what are the characters that will is preventing me from moving forward, and time and space. Like that, this time and space matters if you know yourself coming from within. And then that's when you recreate your um recreate your outcome in your life, although you can't really like change, like, oh my god, tomorrow I'm gonna find my purpose, like I'm gonna, I'm gonna be where I want to be tomorrow. I mean, that's so impossibility, because as a soul, as a body, you gotta go experience your life the way time and space
Right.
is collaborating with you.
That's my problem sometimes. I want everything written down so I can be like, yeah, this is the plan. So I can just read it
Yes.
and be like, yeah, that's what I need to do. But it's not like that. We're supposed to, I guess we're supposed to experience life, make decisions, make mistakes, experience heartbreak, all that stuff, and go from there, I guess. Right?
Yeah, but before you do that, I mean, as I said, my own discovery of me, of myself, it took me time. It took me time. I'm already 36 years old. Do I feel like I'm there to what I really want to become? I'm in the process, but before and I think this is why it's important for self-discovery. Any one of us needs to know who we are, what we are in this world, whether we're going to be evil or we're going to be a saint. We need to know all of this so that we can be aware. It's like it goes back to self-awareness, like self-awareness of who you are, and what you need to endure, what you need to overcome, and what you need to be okay with what's reality at the moment. Because once you understand yourself in outside and within, then it becomes like easier. Like, the challenges will still gonna be there, but because you're so aware of what you're experiencing right now, what's gonna be bringing you, well, the good and the bad, because this good and bad, positive and negative energy, these are forces that somehow society had somehow separated these forces, and it becomes more of a disalignment, rather than alignment. So
Right,
it
right.
becomes so disharmonized that now we get so caught up with our own misery in life.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot going on politically and otherwise, but I wanted to ask about the intuition. So
Okay.
it's my understanding that you use the intuition in your work as well. So it's not just asking the client about stuff.
Yes.
Because when we talked before, you said you could see aura colors and stuff like that. And is that something that started happening uh at the time when you were starting to discover the spiritual stuff, and all of a sudden you were starting to see things that you didn't see before?
Okay, so it came. Oh, okay. So my world before the marriage, and my world before my marriage, and all of this was all about my belief about the system of religion, the system of society. So and that's where I went through, like, religion to religion, like, like, oh, there's God, like, oh, like there's this, you know all of this stuff, right? And then as I'm moving forward, and now getting a little bit of information from that, I started become more scientific, because it's like from philosophical, from religion from, and I started to no I when I was going down to the rabbit hole of Matrix,
Right.
that's when I started to like question, okay, how does the building made on itself and created a form? There has to be some sort of math here. There has to be some sort of calculation here, because you can't just form a form without, like without like what you call, without you knowing the amount of bricks to put or
Right.
whatever that.
And this is
So
just a metaphor. You're not talking just about the building. You're talking about life in general. You're talking
life
about.
and yes, this is when I started, I was questioning it, like how is the building being formed, how is this things being formed? There has to be a mathematical calculation in there that's happening. There has to be, because as far as I'm getting out, not getting out, I'm not getting out to my religion, I'm not getting out to that religion's belief, because I believe that each of us, whatever you embody as religion, I think that it's part of our own purpose. It's our, some, I was born a Catholic, some people are born to be Islam, some people are born, that's just part of their imprint.
Yeah.
So it's an imprint, and so I'm not getting away from that, because my Catholicism is my imprint. But now I started to want to understand the scientific of it. I wanted to understand the structure of the system, and that's when I started digging, like the codes, the numbers. I mean, I'm not good with math, but I started, my intuition
So
somehow.
you started
But
using numerology, basically. You
I,
started using some numerology, some astrology, but you found some stuff on your own as well.
yes, as I dig down to my star, I started, like meeting astrology, started meeting human design, started meeting gene keys, I started meeting numerology, started meeting all of this different type of beliefs. Right?
Right.
This is not religion. This is like a esoteric, whatever, or whatever you call that things. Because and I started digging to that, and then I started now putting my thought of it into it, like, okay, so this is literally how the earth is formed, energy and all. So I started going down to scientific base and relating it to our philosophical and religion things, and that's where I come up with the idea that everything that we do, who we are in this earth, that we're literally creating stories, and we're our own character. We're playing a role within our own character, and based on how we're supposed to live, the way the earth. Because for me, the earth, the universe is very systemized, very structured the way it is. So within the structure, like you have a certain role to play.
So
And
you say that there's a limited number of choices that you have based on just when you were born, because there's a role already assigned to you in a way.
yes, like there's like a particular purpose, a role, or whatever that you're assigned. I am Sheila Mae, and this is my role in life, and you are you, and this is your role in life. We're playing a story, and by playing this story, we're also walking towards our own. This is already the moment we were born. We're already that's already destiny. We're
That's
just
it's already action. So this
it's
is
already action,
this
exactly.
is this is good acting, very good acting. Keep it up.
Exactly. And the only difference is that when you're aware, this is where the awareness comes in. Because as I said, as much as our mind wants to control what we need to become or who we need to become, as much as we wanted to dig to that and say, like, you know what, I can change my life. I can do things that, I can make it happen. If this person it made it happen, like I can do it. For me, it's like good luck with that, because once we don't refocus that attention to ourselves and we feel more like what more resonating to who we are based on our own role to play, then it will lead to getting lost.
Can I give you a date and you calculate? Not gonna give you mine because I already gave you that, and it's gonna.
Okay.
I want to give you some. Can I give you some something else?
Oh yeah, you can. But yes, let's give it a try. This is not guarantee, so
Okay.
we'll see.
27th of March,
Okay.
1966.
Okay. 27 of March, so I can see that he's a whoever's this person
She.
is a she. Okay. So she's a yellow energy, so she brings sunshine to anybody's life. She carries some optimistic like the sunlight of the earth. So somehow she brought this sunshine. It depends if she's in a lower vibrational of herself, then she will bring fire. She will bring, but if she's, if she's like in it, if she's not, because our energies are always changing. It's not always that you're, I'm here and higher vibrating. There's gonna be days that you will be functioning a lower vibrational feelings. And so, but overall she's like a yellow energy, solar plexus. Her vortex is in the solar plexus. Probably she's gonna be more concerned with her eating habits. If she's in touch with her spirit, then she knows what to eat, what not to eat. She somehow, like as I said, if she's happy, she's like vibrating to a certain frequency of herself. Okay, give me a second.
Okay,
And then March.
it's my mother basically. Okay.
Your mother, is she like that?
She can be fire, yeah. If she's in a bad mood or something, there will be
It
fire.
like burns, like it's literally like if she's in a bad mood, like she's gonna burn the house down. I'm not metaphorically, like you can feel the fire. Okay, so I'm just talking about the
All
aura.
right.
So now let's talk the code, like March 27. That's so she's a star. So she's when she's in the mood, she can bring happiness. She can entertain everyone. She's very creative. She's very entertaining. She's very talented. A part of her probably wanted to be a no, or like maybe in acting, or she just wanted to entertain people
Yeah, that
into
sounds
her
like her,
own.
actually. That sounds like
Yeah,
her.
these are people who are happy people, I'm telling you.
By the way, it just
Yeah.
occurred to me that while I might not want to hear that again, maybe my listeners want to hear what you would say about my birth date. So let's just do that real quick. So
Okay.
14th of October 1985.
So 14th of October. So I can I can already tell that you are very, you're very nurturing and caring. You care deeply about humanity and people around you. And so there's that, you're very loving. I don't know if you subconsciously know that, or I don't know if your mind will say, oh, not really. But there's a part, you're the only one who knows that there's a part of your being that feels deeply for anyone you care about. And also, but there's also a part of you that's also very very curious, that adventure side. It's also, there's leadership there as well. Yeah, and then you being a bird as well, like being a bird, you can't be in a box. I mean, real, but there's a certain, like, we can't be in a box. That's just how it is. And you cannot be in a box, and you will literally like question that. And then, curiosity, being single, because I know a lot of people that has this code. There's that constant of being single. Not all the time, but like somehow relationship becomes like not hard, but it's a challenge because you wanted to be in a more free. If you're in a relationship, as much as you care about your person, there's an aspect of you that wants to be free. So if a woman in your life somehow stifled you into to what you want to be or what you want to do, then it becomes more of a challenge for you because let's say if a woman says, oh, you can't go whatever, right, expectations of you that you can't bring to the table, and then so that becomes like it's like this is kind of like a challenge. But at the same time, you're very gentle, you're very you're a mediator, you're
Right.
you're a mediator, you want peace. So you're like good with like creating what you call like outcome for a peace. Like there's two people fighting, you're like good with
Right.
somehow.
This sounds like a solid endorsement of me.
I know,
But
is that real? I'm just saying the way I had seen. I mean, I theorize it about you, but is that even true for you?
I think some of the things are true. I think relationships, yeah, the freedom part is very true that I don't want to be bogged down and limited in kind of way, and that I resist that. So I think that part is also, yeah, that is very
What
true.
about the loving?
The
I
loving,
feel like you have resistance for that.
I do have. The only thing I say is that the only thing I have reservations about is that while I do feel like I do care about people, is that sometimes on the outward I may not show it always. So that's why I'm like doubting myself. Am I really loving if I'm not really,
You analyze it too much.
well, there we go. Maybe
You analyze your, not you, but I'm saying is that because you're very what you call like
analytical.
analytical. Yes, you're very analytical. So you analyze your emotions. You somehow like question your emotions, although you feel it, it from within you, like when you're, like in your own world. When you feel something, and then you try to analyze it, you try to like reason it, like you try to it's like an emotion. Let's say I feel, let's say, I'm just giving an example. I feel in love, let's just put example because it's a feeling, and then your mind started to like analyze it. Maybe not, maybe I'm just feeling this because blah, and then it
Yeah.
kind of like puts you.
Maybe maybe she's not the one. Maybe this is
Yes, or you started to
the
question, you started to put words to those emotions. So
Well,
yeah.
well, I will not say more about this. Okay.
Is
So,
it true though? I mean, not true, but does it resonate?
yeah, I do analyze a lot. That is true. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
so what I'm saying is that this is very complex, and it's not like it doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be like that's the truth of me, because you're the only one who knows the truth, no one else, not even your mother.
Right. So, is this something you came up with, a combination of, again, is it because like a lot of things sound like you're mixing astrology, which is the I'm a Libra, and then other stuff. Is this or is this something just your own creation?
Well, in a way, it's my there's a big part of me that I created it, but there's also factors of other knowledge in it. There's like an initiation of an idea, right?
Mm,
And then based on how I formed it, I had to explore more of other knowledges and explore more of why why this works and why. So I had to go down to different kinds of knowledges, and also at the same time I also had to do research for the behavior of people, of why, okay, if this is a code, then let me go sit down and talk to somebody or whatever. So I did that for years of just observation of behavioral of people and what they do, and I come up with that through that, not like any like I come up with that theory as I say for now, that there's a certain patterns of behavior that we somehow embody, and in a more shallow way, like in a shallow way, because I'm not, because if as I said, the truth is so complex that you can't just state one truth and that becomes a truth. It's really a lot of like, there's so many factors is affecting that, and also people has different upbringing, and and people that's like, like we have a different dynamic of who were influencing us when we were children, who are we to, who are part of our lives in our reality, because these are people or environment that will affect how we perceive the world,
Hmm.
how affect how we go around our world. These are big factors in our lives that will somehow put us in destruction or put us in health, and it depends who you surround yourself with. It depends who are you, like who's putting things in your mind, who's, so it will somehow create some sort of like influence or an impact, or all of it. So that's why I said it's just, it really depends how you are within your own set of environment.
So the code that you're breaking, this is kind of your theory, kind of
For
I would
now,
call a working hypothesis that you have, that
yes.
you're developing this theory, and maybe someday you'll come up with a book on it and expounding your
I am
theory.
already currently writing a book about
Oh, there
it.
you go. There you go.
Yes, I am, like I'm already trying to, I want to make it easier for children to understand it, because the reason why I wanted to create this is really for the children and the parents, so that they can understand the simplest form of understanding yourself, right? So that you can understand how you can form the children's consciousness in order for them to be okay, that to accept who they are as an entity, as a human being. So, and I, that's why in the process I am, as far as I'm still observing, I'm not yet fully formed of my theory. um the intention is I want to finish this whatever time frame that is, whenever is, the universe wants me to finish it, or whatever the force wants me to finish it. But the intention was that I just want to people, because us, we're already adults, we've already established certain behavior that's outside of us,
Yeah.
that's been influenced to us. So for me, it's like, okay, so if I would create this, understanding or this knowledge about this very simple form of knowledge that any children can understand, then it will be probably easier for our world to, once we know one person, when a person knows about this, then eventually the world will somehow aligned to the reality of who we are. Because really, what really matters is, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? Who, like, it's like a function of a, like your own characters. Who are you? And then once we understand that to our children, if you have children, once we understand it and we respect those boundaries, and we respect the things that, what a person, what's the weakness of the person, what's the strength of the person, what they need to become in this life. Because as I said, this is, we live in a matrix, and this matrix has a certain structural of our path. And so once we understand it, it becomes easier for a parent or anybody in your life who loves you, can see that, okay, so this is, this is gonna trigger her. So I'm just gonna try to not, I'm not gonna try to trigger her, but instead teach her, or not teach her, influence her or something, because we can't control as much as we want to control our own destiny. We can only be aware of it. And once we're aware of that, then it becomes to alchemize outcome in a better way, whether negative or positive, and also understand that everyone is has negative and positive. That this negativity of our character and this positivity of our character, it exists. None can survive without the other. But when you self discover yourself, or when you understand the significance and importance of knowing self in a magnitude way, then it becomes easier to function life. Because for me, I would go back to me when I was a child, because as I said, I am creating something that I want to based on also my experience as a child. If only my mom understand me when I was born, and understand, oh, my child will become, or not become, but my child will react to this, respond to this. Oh, this is my child's challenges. So I was always challenged with communication, the way I my mental processes. And so when I didn't understand who I am as as an entity into this world, then I was so depressed about it. It's like, why can I not communicate properly? Why can I I read a lot of books and it doesn't process in my head, and or I like the way I communicate, somehow the idea of what I want to communicate becomes such a challenge. And questioning that, it's like I feel terrible about myself. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like all of this stuff. So now, if going back, and if now, if my parents only understand that about me, then my parents would have done something about it. Maybe give me books, maybe create a path for me, that my wound in this life will be easier to overcome by my parents trying to harness my wound that I'm going to go through in this life. So by bringing me books, or by educating me how I communicate my words, or by putting me in a speech class, or by going through all of these things. So now, as I'm going adult, when I'm growing as an adult, and so my insecurities would have not felt, because somehow my parents had tried to help me overcome my challenges in this lifetime. So I think that's why, based on also my own challenges with it, that I want to create more of an a like a space for parents to get to know their children,
Right.
not outside but inside, and to create a better world in the future.
Cool. I'll talk a little bit about the seeing auras. Like I mentioned before, is this something people can learn, or you think? Because
Yes, people can learn this. People can learn this. Like, I don't see auras. Like, I don't like. There are people that are gifted for it. They are born to have those gifts. They can still literally see auras or something. I don't do that because I'm more in the logical
okay.
mind. So, but people can learn this, and as I finished writing that book, then there's so many aspects there that I can teach. Oh, I can put to teach them like how to see auras based on the structure of the earth, not based on what people are projecting onto you. Oh, this is your color, but based on the structure of the earth and why this is your color, not because this is what I thought of your color, because I don't know that. I don't know your color by just looking at you. I mean, there are people that would tell you that, but that's not how I am. I'm here to make people understand that in the structure of the earth, there is actually your color there. And once it's done, hopefully as soon as I can, then hopefully this book can somehow help a little bit of it.
Okay, amazing. So lastly, just talk about, I think you mentioned before, but what you basically do coaching as a self-discovery guide. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
their title. So when they come to you, they basically learn about not just who they are, but better maybe are able to handle the stresses around them and better able
Yeah.
to decide what they want to do and based on their
Yes.
skills that you assess, right?
Yes. So um I always have this intention, or I always have this thought based on my mind, in my being. Everyone is a teacher. Every one of us. Everyone has something to say. Everyone has something to teach. Everyone has something to theorize, right? And but for some reason, all of this become a question. All of this becomes like something that we forgot, and so and that's why I prefer to call myself a guide,
Mm.
because coach, yes, I like coach, but a guide is better for me, because all I wanted was to guide somebody to know who they are, so that they can make decision that for themselves, not because I'm there and telling them what to do, but because I'm putting it out here. This is probably something that you forgot, or you probably don't remember, or probably haven't like figured it out, or this is probably, this could help you. And but that this, your decision making will come from you, not because from me, but because of you, of what I've shown you. And all of this is your own perspective to it, because it always, like, for me, what matters is what your perspective to it. Doesn't have to be with my perspective.
Right.
And I'm just digging it out from you, or I'm just digging it out from that, like going to the subconscious, going to going to the mind, going to the heart. So as I'm pulling those up from people, then they have their own, they help themselves. They help
Right.
themselves.
I think that's better than telling people what to do, which I wouldn't like anyway. So,
Of course, who wants to be told what to do? Like,
right,
I'm
exactly.
such a rebel that it would be a problem.
So, Sheila, where can people find you if they want coaching from you?
They can go to my Facebook. They can personally message me there. Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel, but it's not really, it's more of a different agenda to it.
Okay.
It's more of like, like having conversation with different types of people. And that was the purpose of the YouTube. But if they can, if you want, they can go there and watch
Okay.
those.
I'll put those two links underneath the video or
Yeah.
the podcast so people
And
can.
Instagram as well. So I have Instagram, and it's not really like, it's a different kind of like world, is because everything has different kinds of worlds. So they can also find me there, and they can personally message me. What they just personal message, just come reach out to me, and I will definitely love to give them a free hours or something like, because for me it's like, this is not about the money, this is about me trying to put some sort of awareness. And then eventually, if they feel like they're connected to me, and they feel like I'm called to their path, then that's when I'm gonna respond. But they can reach out to me and like ask me questions and all of those stuff, and they don't have to worry about if they have money or not, because I think that's why I'm really, this is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I need to, this is why I'm here in this earth. Not to take it like more of the material aspect to this, but if I can guide one person at a time, based on if they're in my fractals, or if they're in my vicinity of my aura, then I would love to help, because as I said, like, the world right now is going through a lot. And if I can share a bit of myself to anybody, then I would love to be there. And like, people are struggling, and I mean, I'm struggling myself, but like, I understand that. And you don't need to pay too much money to to go, to put an alignment for yourself or to get to know you, like, I mean, yeah, so they can reach out to me anytime and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna try to be there.
So it sounds like you offer like one, or you said 3 free sessions and or something.
Yes, I can offer 2 session, 3 session, and how, whatever that they need at that moment. I said, but if they are called out to work along with me for an amount of time, then they can. But I want them to know, like, I want the clients to know if this is the right fit for them, if this is what they're for. So, it's not, as I said, it goes back to, it's not about the money. I just want to be there for you as much as I can, if I'm allowed to. So I will, graciously give myself.
There you go. That sounds good. It's been we've come to an end. It's been wonderful having you on the podcast, Sheila. Thank you
Thank you
for
for
being on.
having me.
You're most welcome. And for the listeners, thank you for watching or listening. Thank you.
Thank you.